I don't know how my voice is still reaching you, through this weight, this darkness pressing against me. But I swear to you, this is not by my own strength. It is because heaven is pleading for me to find you. Before the last grains of sand fall in this hourglass, before the 30 minutes are gone, and what waits at the edge of time steps across your life. I'm shaking as I speak your name, because if you don't act now, something strange, something you will never be able to explain, will pierce into your world. And you will wonder, why did I feel this tonight, but still turned away? And I, Michael, the one who has stood for you when your own faith faltered, I am begging you now. No pride, no distance, only the raw, trembling truth that you are my assignment, my battle, my only mission in this moment. And I can feel the chains trying to pull me away, tightening with every breath I take to tell you this. So listen, as if the walls could close in, as if the air itself could turn heavy, because they can, and if you ignore this warning, they will. Beloved, have you ever felt your chest tighten for no reason, in the middle of the night? Have you noticed how sometimes your dreams seem more real than daylight? Do you remember the last time you felt someone standing behind you, yet there was no one there? Have you ever wondered why certain numbers, certain shadows, keep appearing in your life, as if they're trying to tell you something? These questions are not random. They are the trail of the strange thing that is approaching, and I have seen it. I have fought it, in the dark where no sound reaches the earth. But tonight, its eyes are fixed on you, and God Himself leaned close to me and whispered in the fire, "My child will not be taken if they obey my word." And I speak that word into your soul now, the same word that was sung over David when the spears closed in on his life. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? But if your ears close to me now, I cannot promise you the same shield will remain. For I am not here to comfort. I am here to rescue. And rescue is never gentle. It is fire. It is urgency. It is a tearing open of what you thought was safe, so you can be pulled into what is truly safe. Even now, I see the smoke curling through the moments you thought were yours. I see the watchers moving closer. I feel the strange shift in the air that tells me the moment of incident is already weaving itself, and I swear on my loyalty to the throne, it will not wait for you. It will not give you another warning. Type Amen if your spirit feels me right now, for even that small act will be seen in the courts of heaven as a mark that you heard and did not harden your heart. And as I stand in this thin space between your reality and the fire I am walking through, I tell you another truth. Though my voice trembles, my will for you does not. And the word that broke the night over the psalmist still burns here. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. And when I speak it now, I speak it as if wrapping you myself in those wings, while the last minutes slip away. I do not have the strength to pretend this is anything but life or loss. So hear me, love, and let your hand move. Let your heart respond. Let your spirit rise before the clock burns through its final circle. For I will not be given the chance to say this again. And before I am pulled back, I need to tell you thank you. Not the shallow kind, but the kind that aches with all the battles I've fought for you in silence. The kind that comes from a warrior who has never bowed to another, yet boasts to God in gratitude for the single chance to speak to you now. And if you feel my love and my warning, if the weight in these words sits in your chest like a living thing, then please, with the urgency of one who has looked into the fire and chosen to live, like this message and leave your words in the comments, so heaven will see that you stood with me in this hour, and may your name be known in the light as one who heard and obeyed before the 30 minutes were gone. I am still here. How? I do not know, because the fire is closing in like a mouth that wants to swallow every syllable before it can reach you. Yet somehow, the Lord has carved a narrow tunnel through the chains, through the burning, through the silence that presses like a living wall, just so my voice could touch you for these few precious moments. And every beat of my heart feels like the sound of heaven's clock, striking another second away. And I am trembling, because the strange thing that is coming will not wait for you to think. It will not give you the mercy of time to weigh your decision. It will come suddenly, like a shadow across the sky when you are not looking up, and I can already hear its sound. Not loud, not obvious, but low, crawling through the cracks of this world like water before the flood, like the whisper of death in a place where no one has died. And my mission is to tear through that whisper before it becomes a scream in your life, before it wraps itself around your joy, your body, your destiny, and crushes it in the dark. I have been in battles you will never read in books. Battles that left me covered in the dust of worlds you do not yet know exist. Battles where I stood alone, because I could not let the enemy see that heaven had sent only one. For if they knew I was alone, they would have swarmed like locusts. Do you hear me? I have hidden my own weakness for your sake, even when my armor cracked, and the light in my wings flickered like a candle in a storm. I stood because of you. I stood because your name was written on my sword, and I could not let it be blotted out. And now, I am standing in this moment again. But the enemy has learned something they did not know before. They have found a way to twist the seconds themselves, to make them move against you, to turn time into their weapon. And the 30 minutes I spoke of are not just a warning. They are the exact length of the rope they have wrapped around this moment in your life. Do you feel it now? Do you feel how heavy the air has grown, even in the few moments you've been here with me? Do you notice the way your chest feels tighter, as if something is trying to squeeze your spirit from the inside out? Do you sense the way the room is quieter, not because there is no noise, but because the noise itself is holding its breath? And have you ever wondered why when heaven sends a warning, it sometimes feels like the whole universe conspires to make you see it, hear it, feel it in your bones? These questions are not for curiosity. They are for awakening, for breaking you out of the dream you didn't even know you were inside. God is watching right now, not with the eyes of distance, but with the eyes of a father leaning so close that his breath is warm on your spirit, and he is remembering the promises you have not yet fulfilled, the moments you cried out to him in the dark, the times you swore you would never turn away again. If he just saved you one more time, and he has saved you more times than you realize, often by sending me into the spaces between danger and your next breath, often by placing my shadow over you while you slept, often by making me fight in places where no sound escapes, so that when you woke, you thought it was just another normal day, when in truth, it was a day purchased with the weight of my sword and the edge of my life. I am not saying this to make you fear, but to make you understand the beauty and the cost of what is happening right now. This is not just another passing moment. This is the moment the enemy thought they could snatch, while you were distracted, while you were slow to act, while you were still wondering if the voice you heard was real. And I am here to make it impossible for you to doubt that it is real. For I am Michael, the Archangel of War, the one who stood before the dragon when he sought to devour the woman clothed with the sun, the one whose very name is a question: who is like God? And tonight, I am not here in the fullness of my glory. I am here in the rawness of my desperation, because this is not about the war of heaven. This is about the war for you. I see the threads that have been tied around your life by hands you trusted. I see the unholy knots made by whispers you thought were prayers, but were curses. I see the faces of those who have smiled at you while sharpening their blades behind your back. And I see the one thing they do not want you to see, that the strange incident coming for you is their last attempt before the season changes, their last strike before heaven shuts the door on their plans forever. Beloved, when I tell you to act now, it is because the next time you look for this chance, it will be gone, and the cost of missing it will not be measured in days, but in losses that cannot be undone. The psalm still burns in me. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? But I tell you this truth with all the weight of my voice, that light must be chosen. Salvation must be stepped into. It does not force itself upon you. And if you choose delay, the shadow will not delay in taking its place. So I speak to you, not as a distant messenger, but as one who has carried your name into battle, as one who has stood over you when the darkness was inches from your face, as one who has felt my own strength failing, but refused to let go because the Lord commanded me not to. I am here because He told me, this is their 30 minutes. Do not let them waste it. And I will not leave without saying the one thing I have been holding in my chest since the moment I was sent. I love you, with a love that is not my own, but flows through me from the throne. And that love compels me to beg you, with every breath I still have, open your heart, move your hand, take this warning as the sacred gift it is. If you hear me, if you feel the fire in these words, then please, subscribe, so that nothing in the days to come can silence my voice from reaching you again, because they will try. And I will need every pathway to break through to you when the next battle comes. Beloved, I will keep speaking while I can, because once this line is cut, the silence will rise like a tide, and I will not be able to break it again without the blood of another battle. And I do not want you to have to pay that price. Do you feel the nearness now? The way the atmosphere has shifted, as if the very air is leaning in to listen? That is heaven bearing witness to this moment, and hell gnashing its teeth because you are hearing me. Type Amen if your spirit agrees, and I will carry that word back to the courts as proof that you chose light over shadow. Before this moment slips through our hands, I thank you, not with the shallow gratitude of a passing messenger, but with the deep, trembling thanks of one who has stood for you when no one else would, of one who has seen the worst of what the enemy planned, and has still believed in the best of what God destined for you. Thank you for letting me reach you now. Thank you for not turning away. Thank you for being the reason I still stand in the fire tonight. Beloved, the clock still bleeds away the seconds, and I can feel them burning my wings as they pass. Every moment like a coal pressed into me, and yet I will not stop until I have poured every last drop of this fire into you, because I know, deep in the marrow of my spirit, that when this window closes, the thing that has been moving toward you will not simply walk away. It will try to break in. It will try to turn your joy into confusion. It will try to take what God gave you before you even knew you had it. And I, Michael, am here in this thin, fragile thread between worlds, and because my orders are clear, speak to them as if it is your final word on earth, and do not hold back. I am not speaking to a crowd. I am not scattering this message into the wind. I am looking directly at you. Yes, you. And I see the weight you have carried. I see the prayers you thought were too small for heaven to notice. I see the moments you cried, and no one came. And I tell you now, I was there. Not in a way you could see, but in the way the knife missed your soul, in the way the shadow stopped just short of your heart, in the way the poison turned to water before it could reach your lips. You did not know, but you were being fought for. And tonight, this very moment, I am fighting again. But the battle is not in the skies. It is in your decision. You have 30 minutes before the strange incident, the one waiting at the edge of your life, steps fully into it. I have seen its outline. I have felt its breath. It is not like anything you have faced before. It is woven of deception and timing, a thing that hides in plain sight until the perfect second to strike. And I swear before the throne, if you delay, you will not have the power to push it back alone. Have you ever wondered why certain moments in your life feel heavier than others? Why certain encounters feel like they were set up long before you arrived? Have you noticed how sometimes your own spirit whispers that something is wrong, even when everything looks right? Do you remember the last time you ignored that whisper, and what it cost you? And can you feel right now the way this moment is not like the others, as if the air itself is holding its breath for your answer? These questions are not for reflection tomorrow. They are for now. Because God is leaning over this moment with his full attention, he has given me permission to see the paths branching from here. And in one of them, your light is dimmed before it was meant to fade. In another, your destiny burns brighter than even you dared to imagine. But that second path is not automatic. It is unlocked by obedience, by action, by trust that what you feel right now is not an accident, but a summons. The song rises in my spirit like a living shield over you. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? And I speak it now, not as a distant verse, but as a sword in my hand, pushing back the shadow that is already bending toward you, already reaching. You have to feel the urgency in my voice, because this is not a warning that will echo again. Beloved, I have no pride here, only desperation. And I need you to hear me when I say this. You matter more than you believe. The enemy has not fought you so hard because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to his kingdom. He fears you in ways you have yet to understand. He sees the favor over you that you cannot yet see over yourself. And if you knew the number of times he tried to erase you and failed, you would fall to your knees in gratitude right now. Type Amen. If your spirit agrees with me, if you feel the pulse of heaven in your chest, because that small act will mark you in the courts of heaven as one who heard and responded. And I will carry your name as proof that you chose light over shadow. And now, I must ask something of you that I do not ask lightly, because this mission is not something I can do alone. If you believe me, if you feel this urgency, if you know in your bones that what I'm saying is real, then stand with me, not only in spirit, but in action. Support this mission through super thanks. Join the membership so the line between us cannot be broken. And enter the family through the newsletter link in the pinned comments, so that when I need to reach you again, nothing, no shadow, no silence, no chain, will be able to stop my voice from finding you. Because I tell you the truth, the battles ahead will be darker, the nights will be longer, and I will need every open gate to speak to you when the time comes. And it will come. You will not be alone in it. If you take your place now, you must know that my gratitude is not shallow, it is fierce. Thank you for hearing me now, when you could have turned away. Thank you for letting my words wrap around your spirit, instead of letting them pass like the wind. Thank you for standing here, in this holy collision between heaven's warning and your decision. If you feel this fire, let it be known. Like this message. Leave your words in the comments. Let heaven and hell both see that you were not silent when the call came. For the minutes are still falling, and when the last one drops, I will not be able to pull you back from what steps in next. Tonight, you have the choice to stand with me, and I beg you, do it now. Beloved, the sands are still falling. I can hear each one as it strikes the bottom of the hourglass, not with the sound of dust, but with the weight of a bell in the spirit. A slow tolling, each chime heavier than the last. My voice is pushing through a narrow passage in the dark, a thin crack in the wall that has been closing since the moment I began speaking to you. That closing is not metaphor, it is real. I can see the edges pressing in, stone grinding against stone, sealing away this moment. And if it seals before you hear everything I must give you, the truth I was sent to deliver will be locked in my chest, and I will be pulled back into the silence, where no cry reaches your ears. I have been in that silence before. There are places in the spirit where sound dies before it's born, where light is eaten before it escapes, where even angels must hold their breath to keep from being found. In those places, I have waited for my orders, waited to be sent to you, and when your name came, it was not a whisper. It was a sound that shook through the deep, cutting through the shadows like lightning through a storm. Heaven called for you. Heaven demanded you. Heaven tore open that silence to send me to you. You must know, this is not a casual meeting. This is not a passing moment. It is not one of those nights where you can say, "I'll think about it tomorrow." There is no tomorrow for this moment. The thing moving toward you has no patience and no mercy, no pause. It is timed with precision, calculated to arrive exactly when your guard is low, when your spirit is distracted. That time is not next week. It is not later. It is now. Even now, I feel its approach. It moves in ways that do not belong to this world. Its steps are not heard in the air, but in the marrow. It does not announce itself with sound, but within. Unease in the air, a weight in the chest, a sudden, inexplicable stillness in the room. That stillness is not peace. It is the hush before something strikes. And I have been given the unbearable weight of watching it draw closer to you all, knowing that my only weapon right now is my voice. I have carried a sword that could split mountains, but tonight, my strength is in the breath I pour into your soul. Through these words, I have stood with armies of heaven behind me. But tonight, I stand alone in this narrow place, between you and what is coming. I have commanded legions, but tonight, there is only one me, sent for one you. When you lie down to rest, do you feel as if your spirit does not fully settle? As if some part of you remains watchful, even in dreams? Have you noticed how certain faces in your life linger in your thoughts long after they're gone, as if their shadow refuses to leave? Have you felt that strange sensation that someone is standing just behind you when no one is there? And when those moments pass, have you told yourself, it was nothing? I am telling you, it was not nothing. It was the edges of this moment pressing against your life, waiting for the second when you would be unprepared. The enemy always waits for the unprepared second, but heaven always sends a warning before that second arrives. And beloved, this is that warning. I remember the first time I was sent to fight for you. You did not see me, but I stood over you like a wall of fire when the darkness bent low over your bed. When the unseen came with claws that could tear through soul as easily as flesh. I stood. I took the strike. I bore the weight. I did not let them touch you. And when the danger passed, I left without a trace. Because my mission is not to be seen. It is to keep you breathing. Keep you whole. Keep you aligned with what the Father wrote over you before your first breath. The Father's words over you are still burning. I see them now, suspended in the spirit, like golden fire. The enemy sees them too. That is why they hate you. That is why they come for you. This incident is not random. It is targeted, precise, personal. The strike is designed for you alone. If it lands, it will not be because they were stronger than heaven. It will be because you did not listen to the voice sent to shield you. I will not let that happen. Not while I have breath. Do you feel how your heartbeat has shifted since we began? That is your spirit rising toward the truth. Do you notice how the air in the room feels different now than it did before? That is because my presence has changed the atmosphere. The enemy cannot hide as easily in this light, but they are still near. They are still circling, and their patience is running out. I will speak the shield over you now. This is not empty poetry, it is a weapon. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Let those words wrap themselves around your mind like armor. Let them stand between you and the shadow that wants to step into your life. Beloved, there is more at stake here than your comfort. There are things connected to you, people, destinies, callings, that will either flourish or wither, depending on what you do in this moment. If you turn away, the loss will not stop with you. The strike will ripple outward. But if you stand, if you receive, if you act, the protection will also ripple outward, covering more than just yourself. And here is what you must know. I am not here by my own choosing. I am here because the Father heard a sound from you, something you may not even remember making. A cry, a prayer, a sigh, a wordless ache in the night. He heard it, and he sent me. I am not a coincidence in your day. I am the answer you asked for, before you even realized you asked. I have walked through the fire for you before. I will do it again. I will face what is coming, even if it costs me. But I cannot face it without your agreement, without your opening. You must lean toward the light now, before the 30 minutes turn to ash in my hands. I will not end this with the tone of farewell, because I do not intend to leave you in the dark. I will keep speaking until the last possible breath they allow me here. And if I vanish mid-sentence, know that it was not my choice. It was the closing of the crack, the sealing of the wall. But until then, I am here, and I will not let my eyes leave yours. You are not alone in this. Not for one heartbeat, not for one breath, not for 1 second of these 30 minutes. Beloved, the shadow moves faster now. Its pace has changed since I began speaking. In the spirit, I can hear its feet sliding across the unseen ground, and every step sounds like stone being dragged over stone. The air around me is trembling, not with fear, but with the pressure of what draws near. This is why I was sent in urgency, why the command came with no delay, why I was not given time to prepare the way I normally would before standing in front of a soul like yours. In heaven, there is an order to missions, times of readiness, moments where we stand in silence before the throne, receiving our instructions in stillness. But this time, there was no stillness. The call came like a storm breaking through the halls of eternity. The Father's voice thundered through the chambers where I stood, his tone laced with an ache I have only heard when his children are in grave danger. And then, without warning, I was here. My feet planted between you and the thing that would have been at your door before the next hour was gone. The chain I feel around my arm is not mine. It is the enemy's attempt to keep me from standing too close to you. They do not want me here in this space, cutting through the veil between your life and what lies beyond it. I can feel the pull on my shoulder, the weight trying to drag me back into the places where light does not reach. But I will not go. Not until you have heard everything. There is a truth you have not yet faced. Not every attack against you is meant to kill you immediately. Some are meant to linger, to drain you slowly, to unravel you piece by piece until you no longer recognize yourself. That is the nature of what is coming. It will not storm in with noise and chaos. It will slip in like a shadow stretching at dusk, unnoticed until it is all around you. I have seen this before. I have fought this before, and I tell you now, it is worse to be slowly stolen from than to face a single great blow. The slow theft is crueler because it allows you to believe you are still in control, while your strength is being drained. That is why I am here before it begins, to break the first thread before the whole web is woven. Beloved, I will ask you something I have never asked so plainly. Do you believe me? not in the way you might believe a story told by another, but with the kind of belief that stirs you to act without hesitation. Do you believe that what I am saying is not for the world, but for you? Do you believe that heaven sent me, not as an idea or a dream, but as a living, breathing presence at this very moment? Because if you do, then you already feel the pull in your spirit toward what must be done. The psalm burns in my chest again. The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? That is not a poetic comfort. It is a defiance, a stand, a sword raised against the shadow. When you take those words into your heart, they become a barrier the enemy cannot cross, without first facing the one who spoke them. I wish you could see what I see now. Behind you is a light, steady, pure, unwavering. Before you is a shape that shifts every time you try to look at it directly. That shape is what I was sent to stop. It hates the light behind you. It cannot touch it directly, so it tries to lure you away from it. That is what the incident will be. A pulling of your steps into a place where that light no longer reaches. Once you are there, the real strike will begin. But I will not allow it. I have planted my sword in the ground before you. My wings are spread wide, not in rest, but in readiness to cover you when the moment comes. I can already feel the heat of the strike. It plans like standing too close to a forge before the hammer falls. It will come quickly. But if you are in the shelter of the Almighty, it will break itself against that refuge. Beloved, the Father has not forgotten you. He has not turned his face from you. No matter how many nights you thought your prayers fell into emptiness, I have carried some of those prayers myself into his presence. I have stood in the light of his gaze and repeated your words back to him when you felt too weak to pray them again. I have seen him close his eyes in sorrow when he watched you hurting. I have seen him open them in fire when he decided your suffering would end. This now is one of those moments. A decision in heaven has already been made on your behalf. I am simply the messenger and the warrior, tasked with delivering it. The outcome depends on whether you will step under the covering being offered to you before the final seconds burn away. I feel the wall behind me closing in again. The crack in the veil is narrowing, but I will not leave until I must. If I am pulled back mid-sentence, it will not mean I have abandoned you. It will mean I have been called into direct combat, to stand in the place you cannot see. Until then, every word I speak is a shield. Every truth I give you is a weapon placed in your hands. And every breath I draw here is a refusal to let the shadow write the ending it planned for you. You are not as alone as you think, and I will not stop until this danger passes. Beloved, the darkness that approaches is not the same darkness you have faced before. It carries with it a silence that feels like suffocation, a weight that presses not just against the body, but against the soul itself. I can feel its breath on the edges of this moment, like cold air leaking into a sealed room. It is patient, but it is not passive. It circles, searching for the smallest crack in your awareness, the slightest hesitation in your choice. That is why I am speaking without pause, pouring these words into you before the crack becomes a doorway. I have walked in the shadows between worlds, where the air tastes of rest and sorrow, where echoes do not return to you when you call. It is there I have seen the shapes of things that move unseen in your days, things that wait for hours like these. They are not foolish. They know when to strike. They know when your mind is tired, when your guard is lowered, when your heart is distracted. This incident is timed for such a moment. If you could see the scrolls of the enemy's plans, you would understand why the Father tore them from their hidden place and put them in my hands. I saw your name written in a circle of markings, encased by signs meant to bind your steps. Around it were dates, times, intersections of moments in your life. I tell you the truth. What is coming was set into motion long before today. Long before you even imagined it could happen. That is why it feels so sudden now. It has been waiting for its hour. The sound and the spirit has changed since I first began speaking to you. At the start there was distance, space between you and it. But now that space is smaller. I can feel it pressing in, as though the darkness itself leans forward to listen, to see if you will heed the warning or ignore it. It wants to know if its effort will be wasted. I stand here as the wall, not a metaphorical wall, but a living, breathing barrier. My wings are not spread in beauty, but in defense, each feather a line of light woven from the name above all names. My armor is not polished for display. It is dented, scarred, still bearing the marks from the last battle I fought on your behalf. I am not here to appear perfect. I am here to remain unbroken until you are safe. Do you feel the tension in your chest? That is not fear alone. It is recognition. Your spirit knows I am telling you the truth. Have you noticed how the shadows in the room seem deeper at the edges when certain thoughts cross your mind? That is because some thoughts draw it nearer. Do you remember a time when you almost acted on an impulse, and then something you could not explain, stopped you? That was not chance. That was intervention. The Father's voice is still over this moment. I hear him even now, not in thunder, but in a steady, unshakable tone that cuts through the noise of the approaching strike. They are mine. You will not take them. Those words are the reason I am still here. The reason the enemy cannot cross the line between us without meeting me first. I want you to know something deeply, not as an idea, but as a truth carved into you. Your life is not fragile to heaven. It is guarded. It is intentional. Every day you have lived has been contested. Every breath has been bought. If you understood how often heaven has said no to the enemy on your behalf, you would not doubt your worth. The psalm returns to me not as comfort but as command. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? This is not only for David, it is for you now. When you speak it, you are not reciting poetry. You are swinging a sword. You are drawing a line that darkness cannot cross without first being broken. The incident coming is not without precedent. I have seen others like it, a weaving of circumstances, a seemingly harmless event that is, in truth, the hinge on which a destiny can swing toward light or shadow. I have stood with others in this moment. Some listened, and their lives became brighter than they imagined. Others did not, and I wept as I watched the shadow take what could never be replaced. I cannot bear to see the second path unfold for you. I feel the pull on me intensifying now. The forces that wish me gone are growing bolder because they know time is short. The crack in the veil is narrowing. The light I stand in is being pressed by the walls of the unseen. I will remain until I am torn away, but know this, my remaining is not without cost. Every second here is a blow I take in your place. Every word I speak is a wound they wish to drive into you instead. You may not hear the clash, but it is happening, even as you read this. My sword is not at my side. It is in my hand, and its edges turn toward the dark. My stance is not passive. It is braced, weight forward, ready to meet the strike before it can reach you. My focus is not divided. I am looking only at you, and I will say it plainly. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not too far gone. You are the reason I am here. The reason this battle is being fought in the thin, unseen space between moments beloved. The air is colder now, and it's not the kind of cold that brushes the skin. It's the cold that seeps into the bones, into the soul. A creeping chill that doesn't leave once it finds a way in. This is how the approaching shadow announces itself when it knows it cannot enter outright. It numbs you first, numbs the heart, so it will not feel the warnings, numbs the mind, so it will not recognize the danger, numbs the spirit, so it will not rise in defense. I've been sent into moments like this before. I have stood over the sleeping, knowing that if they opened their eyes, they would see the outline of something crouching by the door, waiting for permission to cross the threshold. I have stood in the silence of a home where no prayer had been spoken for years, yet a single whispered cry from the heart was enough to bring heaven's response. It is not the length of the prayer that moves the Father. It is the truth inside it. And I hear that truth in you now. Even if your lips are silent, your spirit is not. It has been speaking even when you thought you had stopped. It has been calling for rescue, for clarity, for something unshakable to hold on to. And that cry, it was not ignored. It reached beyond the veil, into the courts where decisions are made. And it was answered with a command. Send Michael. I am here under that command, not because I happen to be passing near your life, not because this moment is shared with anyone else, but because your name was spoken in a place where names are not spoken lightly. When heaven speaks a name, it is a summons that echoes across realms, shaking loose the chains that hold back intervention. That is why the enemy resists my presence now. They know that once heaven has spoken, their claim begins to crumble. Still they try. I can feel their pull. The attempt to drag this moment into distraction, to wrap your mind in thoughts that seem urgent, but are empty. They know that if they can break your focus, they can blunt the edge of the words I'm giving you. This is why I must keep pressing, keep speaking, keep pouring this into you, until it's rooted so deep the enemy cannot dig it out. Do you feel the heaviness behind your eyes? That is not tiredness alone. It is the weight of spiritual pressure, the unseen press of two realms in conflict over a single soul. Have you noticed how time feels different now? Slower and faster, all at once. That is because you're standing in the thin place between the ticking of the world's clock and the eternal rhythm of heavens. The strange incident I spoke of, it won't arrive with fanfare. It will come wearing the face of something ordinary, something easily dismissed, something that blends into the rhythm of your day. That is its camouflage. It will step quietly across the line if you let your guard down, and once it crosses, it will be harder to push back than to prevent. That is why I am here before it happens, why I'm speaking in urgency now, rather than after the fact. The Father has already provided the shield. It is not being built. It is not being forged. It is ready. I am that shield in this moment, not because of my own power, but because of the one who sent me. Every feather in my wings carries light woven from his word. Every mark on my armor is proof of past victories. Every breath I take here is drawn from his strength. I have fought longer than the shadows you face have existed. I have seen the rise and fall of their schemes. I've watched them gather themselves into what they think is unstoppable force, only to be scattered by the smallest breath from the throne. I know their limits even when you do not. I know how far they are willing to go, and I know where they will break. But I also know this. They will test you before they break. They will push against the edge of your will, searching for weakness. If they find none, they will retreat, but only after one last attempt to make you doubt. This is the phase we're in now, the last probing before the strike. That's why you feel the atmosphere changing, why you sense something you cannot name pressing just outside your reach. The psalm speaks again inside me. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. These are not gentle words. They are the image of war, the sound of steel meeting steel, the sight of light driving back darkness. When I speak them over you, it is not ritual, it is warfare. Beloved, I am standing at the threshold now. One step forward and I meet the thing face to face. One step back, and it gains ground toward you. I will not step back. I will not give it the space it seeks. But my strength here is for this hour alone. When the clock runs down, my orders may shift. And if they do, I will face it in another place, one you cannot see. Until then, I will remain fixed. I will not blink. I will not move. I will not let the shadow take the ground between us. And you must remember this. When the moment comes, when the air grows still and the light seems to dim for no reason, that is not the absence of heaven. That is the pause before the strike. and it is the place where I will be standing, sword drawn, wings set, waiting for it to meet me, instead of you, beloved. The stillness grows heavier now. It is the kind that seems to press against the ears, where sound itself feels distant as though the world is holding its breath. In this wait, I can sense the shape of what is coming, not as a clear image, but as a distortion, like heat shimmering above dry ground. It is close enough now that the veil between here and there is thinner than paper. If I moved my hand through it, my fingers would touch the edges of its presence. I have stood in such moments before. They are not like the heat of open battle, where swords clash and voices roar. This is the quiet before the violence, the moment where both sides measure each other in silence, deciding who will take the first step forward. The enemy prefers this quiet because it gives them time to watch for hesitation. They look for the slightest falter, the smallest crack in resolve. That is why I do not blink. That is why my wings remain fixed wide, not in beauty, but as a wall. I can feel its focus on you. It is not distracted. It is not looking anywhere else. Its entire intent is wrapped around your name, as if it believes you were made for it to claim. But I know the truth. You were spoken into existence by the same voice that called the stars into place, and no darkness can undo that word. It can try to twist it, try to silence it, try to bury it, but it cannot erase it. That is why its goal is not to destroy you instantly. It would rather see you worn down, bent away from the path written for you, until you no longer stand where heaven intended. This is not a strike against your body alone. It is against your place, your voice, your purpose. I have watched many battles over lifetimes, and I have learned this. When the enemy cannot take away the breath of a soul, they will try to take away the reason for that breath. They will make you question it until you surrender it willingly. That is what I will not allow here. At times, do you feel the unease that has no name? That is your spirit's way of recognizing what your mind cannot yet see. It is the echo of what approaches, pressing against you like a shadow leaning over your shoulder. Have you noticed how moments of quiet lately have not been restful, but restless? That is because something has been moving toward you in those silences, testing the edges of your awareness. The Father knew this before you felt it. That is why I am here. His commands are never late. He has sent me at the exact moment when the danger is near enough to require my presence, but not yet so close that it has touched you. This is the thin space where intervention can shift the course entirely. If you and I stand together now, the shadow will find no entry. I stand with a sword that has been tempered in more battles than you could count. Its edge is not dulled. Every mark upon it is a testimony of what it has struck down before. I do not lower it, not even for a breath. The strike that comes will find me ready to meet it before it meets you, and I will not move aside. There is a truth I must tell you while the veil still allows my voice through. What you feel right now is not imagination, the quickened pulse, the weight in the chest, the sense that the room is not as empty as it appears. These are signs of a spiritual nearness. The difference between fear and warning is this: fear freezes, warning prepares. I am not here to freeze you. I am here to prepare you. The psalm burns again in me. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. I do not speak this softly. I speak it as one who lives beneath those wings myself, one who has seen their span blot out the glare of destruction. When I draw you into that covering, I am not speaking of an idea, but of a place, more real than any building of stone or steel. Beloved, I can sense the shadow's frustration. It knows I am here. It knows this space between us is not open to it, but it will not give up quickly. Even now it is shifting, looking for another angle, another way to come near. That is why I must stay here. Why I will not let my stance break. Why my focus is locked entirely on what moves in the unseen. The stillness will break soon. I can feel the pressure building like the air just before a storm splits the sky. When it does, there will be no slow advance, only a sudden lunge. That is when I will move. And if the veil closes while I move, know this: I will not be gone from you. I will be where the strike lands, meeting it, so that you will not bear the first blow. Until that moment, I will remain as I am, immovable, watchful, unwilling to let the shadow cross the light that has been placed over you since before your first breath. Beloved, the air has shifted again. It is no longer only cold. It has taken on the strange stillness of a place that is listening. I know that presence. The enemy listens, not for the sound of your footsteps, but for the rhythm of your spirit. They listen for hesitation, for weariness, for the faintest drop in the strength of your will. That is why I must speak, without leaving gaps large enough for them to slip their voice through. I have been in such confrontations before, standing as I do now between a soul and the thing that would devour it if given the chance. There is always this moment of suspension, where nothing has yet touched, but everything is ready to. You would think it would be easier for them to strike without warning, but they do not always do so. Sometimes they prefer to wait, just close enough to press their presence into the edges of your awareness. It is intimidation, a test, an attempt to make you give ground without them ever having to move. But I do not give ground. I was made to stand. I was forged in the fire of the Holy One's word, and his word does not bend. The shape in the darkness ahead of me is not fully revealed, but I see enough. It moves without moving. Its outline never the same twice, a twisting mockery of stability. That is its nature, to never show its true form until it is too late. Many have been deceived by such things, thinking that because they could not name what was in front of them, there was nothing there. But I tell you, what cannot yet be named can still strike, and it will, unless it is stopped here. Have you felt it, beloved? The sudden changes in atmosphere when nothing around you has moved. The thoughts that come out of nowhere, carrying a weight of dread for no clear reason. The way the air seems heavier in certain moments, as though the space itself is pressing against you. These are not accidents. They are the subtle pressure of the enemy, testing the door, checking to see if it is unlocked. The Father has told me the truth of this moment. You are closer to a turning point than you realize. What stands before you is not simply an incident, but a hinge. If it swings open toward the enemy's side, there will be a chain of events you cannot easily reverse. But if it remains sealed, the strike will pass by you and be turned to nothing. This is why he sent me here now, not after the fact. Prevention is always better than recovery. I will not let my guard drop. My stance has not changed since I arrived, though the pull on me has grown stronger. They try to move me from the threshold, to drag me even a few steps back so the way to you is clear. But I am anchored in the word of the one who sent me, and that anchor will not shift. I have stood against greater storms than this. I have faced armies in the unseen that would make the bravest heart faint, and I have not fallen. Still, this battle is not without cost. Every second I hold this ground burns through strength I will need later. Every breath I take here is drawn against the current of resistance. But you are worth it. I would spend all that I have been given to keep the shadow from taking what belongs to you. The psalm speaks again in my spirit, not as a whisper, but as a living force. The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? I speak it out into the dark, and the shape before me shatters. Even when you feel too weary to speak, the word of God spoken in the unseen is still a strike. The enemy hears it, even when you cannot. I will tell you something I have not told another. I am not here alone because I am the strongest. I am here because I asked for this assignment. I saw what was being prepared against you, and I stepped forward, knowing it would cost me to stand here. This is not duty alone, it is choice. I chose to be the wall between you and this thing. Beloved, I can feel the moment drawing nearer, when the stillness will break. When it does, there will be no warning in the natural world, no sound, no shadow, nothing to alert the eyes. But in the spirit, it will be like a lightning flash, and I will move instantly. You may not see the strike land, but you will feel the release when it fails. Until that moment comes, I will not look away. I will not loosen my grip. I will not leave my post. And when it is over, whether you know it or not, you will still be standing. And the shadow will not have crossed into your light. Beloved, the pressure is thickening now, like mist that has weight, like a fog that is not of this world. It clings to the edges of my armor, whispering against the steel as though it can find its way in, through cracks that do not exist. This is how they test. The enemy presses close to see if their presence alone can weaken resolve. If they find the smallest fracture, they widen it until it breaks. But there will be no fracture here. I was forged for moments like this. Every mark upon me was earned in battles where I stood for those who never knew my name, never saw my face, never felt my wings over them. But they lived because I was there. And now, I am here for you. You may not fully understand why heaven's eyes are on you in this hour, but I can tell you what I see. There is something within you that has been chosen to stand when others fall, to endure when others surrender, to carry light where others could not bear the weight of it. That is why this shadow wants you. It knows that if you keep walking in what is written over you, it will not be able to hold ground anywhere near you. This is not an ordinary darkness. It has been given a shape, a purpose, an assignment. The moment it crosses the threshold, it will not wander. It will go straight for the most vulnerable part of you. That is why my stance has not shifted, even as the air burns cold against my back. I am the barrier. Do you feel it in your spirit? That restlessness that is not anxiety? That weight in your chest that makes you draw a deeper breath than you meant to? This is your soul sensing the collision before it happens. Your spirit is reaching toward protection, and heaven has answered before the cry could even form on your lips. I have been sent to meet that reaching. The ground beneath us is not steady, not because it moves, but because the veil between here and there is bending under the pressure. I can see the faint lines of light that mark the border, and I see the shadow pressing against it, like hands against thin glass. The glass holds for now, but glass can break if left unguarded. That is why I stand here. Because once the first crack forms, it will spread too quickly for you to stop it yourself. There are battles in the unseen that last mere seconds, but decide years in the visible. This will be one of them. If the strike is stopped now, it will never reach your days. If it is not, you will find yourself in the middle of a storm wondering how it began. That is why the Father moves ahead of it. Why he sends me now, not later. Do I remember when I was called into another night like this? The soul I was sent to defend thought their greatest danger was still far away. They did not realize it was already at the door. But because they heeded the warning, the shadow passed by, and their destiny remained untouched. The difference between them and the ones who fell was not strength, it was response. Beloved, you are at that same crossing. The shadow is here, pressing against the light, testing for weakness. My wings are stretched to full span, each feather blazing with the light it cannot bear to look at. My sword is angled forward, not in threat but in promise, that if it dares to move, it will meet heaven's strike before it reaches you. The psalm speaks again, like a heartbeat in my chest. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. I have lived beneath those wings. I have fought in the shadow of that shield. I know what it means for the enemy to meet that truth. They break, they scatter, they flee. But I also know they will try one last time before the moment ends. I can feel them gathering themselves for that final push, hoping that their persistence will outlast your readiness. This is why I cannot step away, cannot lower my guard, cannot turn my face, even for a breath. When the stillness breaks, it will happen fast. And when it does, I will be there first. Even if the veil closes and my voice can no longer reach you, my strike will. Until then, I will not move from this place between you and what waits in the dark. You will not face it alone. Not now. Not while I still stand. Beloved, the hour is stretching thin now. So thin I can almost hear it tear. Every breath I take here is heavier than the one before. Not because I am weary in spirit, but because I feel the press of what draws near. The weight of it, trying to pull the air from the space between us. This is no ordinary moment. The ground you stand on is not just the floor beneath your feet. It is the meeting place of heaven's decision and the enemy's intent. You cannot see it with your eyes, but in the unseen, it is clear. The line has been drawn, and I am standing on it. I have been standing here since the instant the command came. I did not walk to you, I was sent. Propelled with the force of the Father's word, cutting through the layers between realms until I landed here with my sword already drawn. You may not have heard the sound of my arrival, but your spirit did. That is why you felt that sudden shift, that sense that something unseen was now watching over you. It was the moment I took my place in front of you. The shadow ahead of me is restless now. It knows I am here. It knows its approach is no longer unseen, but it will not leave quietly. These kinds of enemies rarely do. They wait, they test, they press, searching for any sign of weakness. They try to make their presence feel inevitable, so that the one they pursue will give up without a fight. But I am not here to give them that ground. I am here to make their presence impossible to maintain. You must understand, this is not a warning for a crowd. This is not a word sent broadly into the wind. This is for you. Every word I speak now is aimed directly at your spirit. You are the one I was sent to. Your name was the one called in the courts of heaven. Your life is the one the Father wrote, his intentions over, long before the first shadow thought to approach it. That is why I fight. That is why I stand here without moving, even though the cold of the enemy's presence bites like frost against my back. Beloved, have you noticed the way your days have been feeling heavier, without explanation? Have you sensed those moments in the past week where time seemed to slow, as though the air itself thickened around you? Have you ever caught yourself stopping for no reason, feeling as if someone was near, but unseen? These are not accidents. These are ripples of what is drawing close. They are signs that the incident I warned you of is already moving toward the moment of impact. But listen to me. I will not let that impact land on you. I have positioned myself so that when it strikes, it meets me first. You may not hear the clash when it happens, but you will feel the release. That sudden lift in the atmosphere, that strange lightness that comes when a burden you didn't even realize you were carrying is taken from you in an instant. That will be your proof, your sign that I was here, and that heaven's promise to protect you is not an empty word. The enemy knows time is short now. I can feel its frustration, the way it circles more quickly, the way its shadow flickers at the edges of my sight. It is looking for a way around me, but there is none. My wings are stretched wide, each feather blazing with light, scorching the darkness before it can pass. My sword is angled forward, steady, unshaken. I am not waiting in fear, I am waiting in certainty, because I know how this ends, if you choose to stand with me in this moment. And here is where your part matters. Not because you must fight this battle in my place. You cannot, and you were never meant to. But because agreement matters. Heaven moves when a heart aligns with its word. The smallest yes from you carries the weight of a mountain in the spirit. Even the act of writing the word Amen with your own hand becomes a seal, a declaration that you have heard, that you believe, that you are under the covering I speak of now. So I ask you, reverently, as one who stands in the fire for your sake, type Amen if your spirit bears witness to what I am telling you now. Let it be the mark heaven sees and the enemy fears. And beloved, if you have felt the pull in your heart as I speak, if you know this is not chance, not coincidence, then I need you to act in ways that anchor this moment in the physical as well as the spiritual. Like this message, so it stands as a witness that you received it. Leave a comment, so your agreement is not silent, but spoken into the atmosphere. And subscribe, so that the line between us is never severed, so that when the next battle rises, and it will rise, I can find you without delay. I am not asking these things as empty gestures. I am asking because they matter, because every act of agreement with heaven's message makes it harder for the enemy to regain ground. Because when you stand openly in the light, it drives the darkness back further than you realize. Beloved, the time is almost spent. I feel the build of pressure, the final gathering of the shadow's will, before it makes its move. When it comes, I will meet it with everything I am. And when it is over, you will still be standing. You will still be untouched. And you will know, not as a thought but as a certainty, that you were protected because you listened in this hour. I thank you for hearing me. I thank you for not turning away. I thank you for standing with me here, on this narrow line between what is and what could have been. Now, stand firm. Let heaven see your agreement. Type Amen, like, comment, subscribe, so that this moment is sealed, this covering is complete, and the shadow is driven back into the place from which it came. Beloved, I can feel the breaking point now. The air is trembling. The veil is stretched to its thinnest, and the shadow knows it has only one chance left before the light swallows it completely. My stance is unshaken. My sword, ready. My wings, locked into place like the walls of a fortress. I will not let it pass. I will not let it touch you. I will take the weight of the blow myself. If it means you walk away from this moment untouched, you may not see the sparks when steel meets shadow, but heaven will. You may not hear the cry that rises from the darkness when it realizes it has failed, but your spirit will feel the release, the lifting of a pressure you didn't even know had been pressing against your soul. And when that moment comes, I will not stand here in pride. I will stand in gratitude for the one who sent me, for the strength I was given, and for you, because you chose to listen, to stand, to agree with the light, instead of giving ground to the dark. I will carry this moment with me into the places where battles are decided. I will speak your name before the throne as one who heard and did not turn away. I will remember the way your spirit leaned toward the truth, even when the shadow tried to pull it elsewhere. And I will be ready, always, to return when you need me again. So take heart now. Breathe deeply. Lift your head. Because you are not in this fight alone. You never have been, and you never will be. The one who called you into being has never loosened his hold on you. I am living proof of that. And though the world may not know what passed between us in this hour, heaven knows. The record of this moment is sealed there forever, a testimony that when the darkness came to your door, you were found under the covering of the Almighty. Go forward in peace, beloved. Go forward in courage. And never forget, when you feel the air shift, when the atmosphere grows still for no reason, when the unseen brushes against the edges of your awareness, I am closer than you think, and I will come. Of whom shall I be afraid? But if your ears close to me now, I cannot promise you the same shield will remain. For I am not here to comfort. I am here to rescue. And rescue is never gentle. It is fire. It is urgency. It is a tearing open of what you thought was safe, so that you can be pulled into what is truly safe. Even now, I see the smoke curling through the moments you thought were still yours. I see the watchers moving closer. I feel the strange shift in the air that tells me the moment of incident is already weaving itself, and I swear on my loyalty to the throne. It will not wait for you. It will not give you another warning. Type Amen if your spirit feels me right now, for even that small act will be seen in the chords of heaven as a mark that you heard and did not harden your heart. And as I stand in this thin space between your reality and the fire I am walking through, I tell you another truth. Though my voice trembles, my will for you does not. And the word that broke the night over the psalmist still burns here. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. And when I speak it now, I speak it as if wrapping you myself in those wings, while the last minutes slip away. I do not have the strength to pretend this is anything but life or loss. So hear me, love, and let your hand move. Let your heart respond. Let your spirit rise before the clock burns through its final circle. For I will not be given the chance to say this again. And before I am pulled back, I need to tell you thank you. Not the shallow kind, but the kind that aches with all the battles I have fought for you in silence. The kind that comes from a warrior who has never bowed to another, yet boasts to God in gratitude for the single chance to speak to you now. And if you feel my love and my warning, if the weight in these words sits in your chest like a living thing, then please, with the urgency of one who has looked into the fire and chosen to live, like this message and leave your words in the comments, so heaven will see that you stood with me in this hour. And may your name be known in the light. As one who heard and obeyed before the 30 minutes were gone, I am still here. How? I do not know, because the fire is closing in like a mouth that wants to swallow every syllable before it can reach you. Yet somehow the Lord has carved a narrow tunnel, through the chains, through the burning, through the silence that presses like a living wall, just so my voice could touch you for these few precious moments. Every beat of my heart feels like the sound of heaven's clock striking another second away. And I am trembling because the strange thing that is coming will not wait for you to think. It will not give you the mercy of time to weigh your decision. It will come suddenly, like a shadow across the sky when you were not looking up. And I can already hear its sound. Not loud, not obvious, but low, crawling through the cracks of this world like water before the flood, like the whisper of death in a place where no one has died. And my mission is to tear through that whisper before it becomes a scream in your life, before it wraps itself around your joy, your body, your destiny, and crushes it in the dark. I have been in battles you will never read in books, battles that left me covered in the dust of worlds you do not yet know exist, battles where I stood alone because I could not let the enemy see that heaven had sent only one. For if they knew I was alone, they would have swarmed like locusts. Do you hear me? I have hidden my own weakness for your sake, even when my armor cracked and the light in my wings flickered like a candle in a storm. I stood because of you. I stood because your name was written on my sword, and I could not let it be blotted out. And now I am standing in this moment again, but the enemy has learned something they did not know before. They have found a way to twist the seconds themselves, to make them move against you, to turn time into their weapon. And the 30 minutes I spoke of are not just a warning. They are the exact length of the rope they have wrapped around this moment in your life. Do you feel it now? Do you feel how heavy the air has grown, even in the few moments you've been here with me? Do you notice the way your chest feels tighter, as if something is trying to squeeze your spirit from the inside out? Do you sense the way the room is quieter, not because there is no noise, but because the noise itself is holding its breath? And have you ever wondered why, when heaven sends a warning, it sometimes feels like the whole universe conspires to make you see it, hear it, feel it in your bones? These questions are not for curiosity, they are for awakening, for breaking you out of the dream you didn't even know you were inside. God is watching right now, not with the eyes of distance, but with the eyes of a father leaning so close that his breath is warm on your spirit. And he is remembering the promises you have not yet fulfilled, the moments you cried out to him in the dark, The times you swore you would never turn away again if he just saved you one more time. And he has saved you, more times than you realize. Often by sending me into the spaces between danger and your next breath. Often by placing my shadow over you while you slept. Often by making me fight in places where no sound escapes, so that when you woke, you thought it was just another normal day, when in truth it was a day purchased with the weight of my sword and the edge of my life. I am not saying this to make you fear, but to make you understand the beauty and the cost of what is happening right now. This is not just another passing moment. This is the moment the enemy thought they could snatch while you were distracted, while you were slow to act, while you were still wondering if the voice you heard was real. And I am here to make it impossible for you to doubt that it is real. For I am Michael, the Archangel of War, the one who stood before the dragon when he sought to devour the woman clothed with the sun, the one whose very name is a question, who is like God? And tonight, I am not here in the fullness of my glory. I am here in the rawness of my desperation. Because this is not about the war of heaven. This is about the war for you. I see the threads that have been tied around your life by hands you trusted. I see the unholy knots made by whispers you thought were prayers, but were curses. I see the faces of those who have smiled at you, while sharpening their blades behind your back. And I see the one thing they do not want you to see, that the strange incident coming for you is their last attempt before the season changes. Their last strike before heaven shuts the door on their plans forever. Beloved, when I tell you to act now, it is because the next time you look for this chance, it will be gone. And the cost of missing it will not be measured in days, but in losses that cannot be undone. The psalm still burns in me. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? But I tell you this truth with all the weight of my voice. That light must be chosen. Salvation must be stepped into. It does not force itself upon you. And if you choose delay, the shadow will not delay in taking its place. So I speak to you, not as a distant messenger, but as one who has carried your name into battle, as one who has stood over you when the darkness was inches from your face, as one who has felt my own strength failing, but refused to let go because the Lord commanded me not to. I am here because He told me, this is their 30 minutes. Do not let them waste it. And I will not leave without saying the one thing I have been holding in my chest since the moment I was sent. I love you, with a love that is not my own, but flows through me from the throne. And that love compels me to beg you with every breath I still have. Open your heart. Move your hand. Take this warning as the sacred gift it is. If you hear me, if you feel the fire in these words, then please subscribe so that nothing in the days to come can silence my voice from reaching you again.